I'd like to call the meeting to order and stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Amendments to the agenda.
None for me tonight.
I don't want to make an amendment. Do we wait till we get down to the discussion on transfer station to ask if we can push that?
I think you could do it now or then, whatever.
I'd like to, under the amendments to the agenda, I would like to, on the new business, allowing other towns to use the Fairhaven transfer station discussion, would like to push that out until after the first year. We got a lot of stuff to nail down in this meeting and might be better to do it.
I'm okay with that.
Sounds fine to me.
It's fine.
Good motion.
Could I get a motion for that?
I would make a motion to remove item 7B, allowing other towns to use Fairhaven Transfer Station from the agenda for this evening.
I'll second that.
You know what we're doing? All those in favor? Aye. Okay,
I did get a text from Chad. He will not be here tonight.
okay. Approval of the minutes from December 9th.
I'd make a motion to approve the minutes as written from December 9th.
We'll have a second.
I'll second that with some discussion.
Okay, I have a motion, I have a second. I'm listening to Lisa's corrections.
Not exactly sure. This it's
Page two.
page two. Rec department.
The school memorandum of understanding discussion.
Yes,
Okay,
there seems a little, I just don't quite understand. I don't remember that as that's what happened to me, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
what portion?
The town, okay, when it comes down to insurance, the town is responsible for playground insurance. And no problem. Read this 3 times, I still can't quite get it out. Town cannot guarantee safety. And then it says comma, should be reasonably safety. Something won't look right there.
That's what he said. He said, we can't guarantee safety. It should be reasonable safety.
Okay, then that makes sense. That's a misspell then. Should be reasonable safety, not safety. Okay.
That's what it says, reasonable safety.
Mine's kind of got it. Okay.
The town cannot guarantee safety, should
Okay.
be reasonable safety.
Okay.
Yeah, I just don't, they don't look right to me, but that's all I got. I mean, everybody's good with it.
Okay,
Okay. Yep.
so got a motion. Got a second. We haven't changed anything else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Department head reports.
For the last 2 weeks, we've had 3 arrests for licenses. We've also one for the DWI, property case. We wrote 68 traffic tickets, 33 written warnings, 1 parking violation. We had 5 crashes, which is up. The weather's been hit or miss. We did 10 sets of civilian fingerprints. I provided you a list of activity that we did, just to rough outline. You look at that again, we're doing a lot of foot patrols, which I noted later. From now till January 2nd, we're participating in the government highway safety program. We'll probably do 1 checkpoint out of town to meet those requirements. And by doing those, again, we get the equipment, the speed signs, new radars, and all that stuff. Participating in those details. I put in there a note. I also like to thank Tyler Zool for taking on the 2025 Stuff a Cruiser / Toy Drive. He single-handed did most of all by himself. He collected food, toys, pet food, cash, and that was divided up between Slate Valley Cares and DCF, which were in turn given out to the family. So,
Awesome.
I provided you a brief update on the lawsuit. The lawsuit So the folks are left, that's been ruled by personal in the town's favor. And again, we're trying to be highly visible with increased motor control, foot patrols in and out of it. Especially right now, we've been trying to put solid generators with more likely of shoplifting this time of year. Public season. So we had 225 calls in the last 2 weeks. We're at 5476.
Question for the chief. No? Thank you.
Well,
Yeah, you're doing,
Does he have any?
I mean, I didn't prepare anything I wasn't told to.
yeah, I would put her on the spotlight.
All day long.
Put her on the
If you
spot all
want me
day long.
to talk, I can.
No, no,
You
no.
don't need me to.
Yeah, I can handle it from here. So just a little bit from my office, Public Works. If you notice the four-way stop, the flasher over here at Dutton and North Main, I think it's been intermittent. I thought it was out, then I thought it was on, and then it's intermittent working. So we did call somebody. They're going to come and fix that.
Fixed it.
So they did get it.
They
Great.
fixed it.
Okay, to a tune of $4,200. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, no joke. Class 1 paving is still on for next summer. I met with the state to talk about the project. They were pushing back on us about this night paving. They felt that so there's not enough traffic to warrant night paving downtown. I made it very clear that our businesses have a lot of pull around here and that we need to have night paving. And they agreed after a lot of discussion that yes, night paving is going to happen. So yeah, that's
So what part of town is that happening?
right downtown where the businesses are.
They're repaving all that all the way down through.
Starting from Prospect up through and then heading towards Castle.
Capitol Hill up to New York. Prospect up to.
Nope, they're heading out to Castleton.
this is the 4A project again, Joe.
Yeah, it's 4 a.m.
What about 22 South? That's not.
No.
No, just the Route 4.
Yeah.
Right. And they're doing the change of the slip same time?
Yeah, that's where they're gonna change
Yes.
removing the slip ramp, and that's gonna be a four-way stop. The big signs that are out there, the signs that are like airport signs, those are staying. They're just gonna replace them with modern signs. We had some vandalism out at the restroom trailer, late last month, early this month. We did get the kids on camera, and I think the chief is still trying to track those kids down.
Is that at the playground? Okay.
Video was for, there was no purpose. They broke the windows, opened, basically went in the one bathroom. So that was their only purpose was to get like trailers. So I think they realized that
No, it's kind of, was the lighting good enough there, chief?
I'm hoping somebody will be able to recognize their kid. So, it was what, 11 o'clock at night, or something.
It was, yeah, something like 11:30 to 1:30 when they were down there in that time period.
No, that's.
I know a lot of them too.
I
I can help you out.
Yeah.
Since the cameras were installed, is this the first time we've needed to review the video footage for vandalism?
For that matter, when we've used the video footage for other things, but not for vandalism purposes that I remember. But you'll correct me if I'm wrong.
First time down there, yes. Yeah, we used it in the park and in the truck that slid through and knocked out a pole. And yeah, there's other little
The
things.
one thing I wouldn't mind doing, I don't know if it is, I don't remember, is maybe put some signage up that there is surveillance video there that would, you know, they start looking up like, oh,
Down at the playground.
yes, that's what I was thinking. If you put it on the back trailers, you put it on poles, and maybe when you enter certain the high traffic areas, this area is video.
Yeah.
It does, I know when I go on places, oh, there's cameras, not that I'm doing anything wrong, but you always look at that, you know, it might give that. This is sad because it literally was just a break. They didn't do anything, take anything.
So Mike at the water plant, he's doing a nice job moving forward with the projects down there. He's trying to get somebody to camera that tunnel so we get a better look at what's wrong with it and where the leak's coming from. He did develop a request for qualifications. for engineering to get the sand filters replaced. So that'll be coming up. We'll release that RFQ, get some people in, choose an engineer and move forward with that. That'll be a next year, early year after project, depending on what the engineers say and what they find.
That's for the leak.
The RFQ is for the replacing the sand filters inside the plant.
Oh, all right.
The water filters. So I made a mistake with the school MOU. I actually gave you the first draft. The second draft actually addressed kind of a lot of what we talked about. I did make a couple other changes and sent it to the lawyer to look at, and let him know that we're gonna talk about this again at the next meeting. So hopefully he has that an opinion on that, ready to go. Town hall renovation. I start painting the ceiling tomorrow. So that's what's going there. The fire department said they'd have all of their stuff out or start moving their stuff out of the big room after the first of the year because they're, you know, moving in the back corners ready to go. And on the 14th, last thing on the January 14th, we have a probate hearing for the trailer park. I think it's just a status update. There's really no movement on this right now. I will let the board know what comes of that. And that's all I got.
Questions for Joe?
I have one. Oh, the town hall, when that's done, what's going up there? What's it gonna be actually used for?
So the big room is just like a public space. So we can use it for meetings or town meeting, but I'd like to see rec use it more, maybe get some small basketball for the little ones. You know, they're not gonna go wild up there and they're not gonna, hopefully not break anything. So, yeah, it's a great big space and
I've never seen it, so I wasn't sure how big it was. Good.
Stop by sometime, I'll give you the tour.
Sounds good. Free tomorrow.
I think it
There we go.
has, I think it has multiple, it can be town meeting, trainings, there's so many things.
It's a decent sized space. There
Is
used
this
to be a
moving up there?
space, like some of the ladies who went to school here came in. I mean, it's big enough for a
It would be
stage.
It would be an issue to move them.
No, it would be nice to.
Oh. Yes, you want to?
I would recommend if you haven't been up there, is take a walk all the way back.
Oh, yeah, check the whole
They
thing.
Vacated, the fire department, that is beautiful. The windows are all, that room is beautiful in the back. And the historical side, they've done amazing on the back too.
I thought you were being sarcastic at
No.
first. Then I realized you were not being sarcastic. I know the buildings, the old former high school, so it's gotta be nice, so it's.
Good. Old business, it looks like we don't have any. New business, the financial control checklist. I think was in your past.
I think I gave you one copy. And this is just for a chair to sign. This is just letting the board know what our internal controls look like. For example, do you reconcile bank ledgers monthly? Yes, we do that. You know, just letting you know what we're doing financially, and what those policies look like.
Zoom by any chance? Are you recorded on Zoom?
It's being recorded. Yes.
Okay, could you provide it? Did we email you? Okay, thank you so much. Sorry about that.
Thanks. No problem.
Thank you.
Drive safe.
So are you looking for a motion to accept the financial controls checklist and authorize me as the chair to sign it?
Correct.
Do I have that motion?
I'll make a motion, we accept it.
Do I have a second?
I will second that motion.
Do we have any discussion, questions? All those in favor? Aye. Budget review. Looks like we're starting on page 1. Accounting department. We have our accountant here, so anything,
There,
anything you want to set up or tell us?
there's nothing in that budget. It mostly goes into, obviously, the general municipal building, hence why you don't see anything there, so.
Any questions from board members? If you see in the first line, 010-3410-10 office salaries, I originally looked at that 1.7. I said, geez, is that a little low? But then I was told it spreads over multiple places. So, because I was expecting to see that we've been trying to do at least 3% with
Yeah, exactly. It's a combination of a few different people, and then we changed some of the percentages a little bit to try and ease up on the 010 a little. And more accurately reflect what we're actually doing.
All right. So we're good on accounting. Next, I think where are we at here? 9. Page 9. Debt management.
Yep. So for debt management, you'll see the fuel tank loan was paid off. That was literally the fuel tank behind this building. Sewer bond remains the same. You will see the fire truck payment though, that $36,764. Last year or 2 years ago, the town voted to borrow money from itself to pay for a fire truck. So this amount is broken out for payments with the 1% interest that the town wanted to pay itself.
Okay. We're all good there. That means that once we get this starting next year, it'll probably be the same payment year over year. So you'll be seeing that zero increase. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
And we broke it out over 10 years. So
That goes back to us, right?
yes, all that money goes back to us. We didn't have to borrow for that.
That was nice. It was sweet. Okay. There's no question. I'm going to move down to benefits. And, first line 010-9700-15 retirement.
Yeah, so you'll see a lot of big numbers in there. Retirement, the one below that, the FICA Medi, that's all salary based. So all those raises that everybody got, that comes with increases down on this side.
And in addition, retirement each year has typically a 0.25% increase on top of what we're seeing for salary raises. So if previously as an employer we had to contribute 7%, next year it might be 7.25% of someone's salary, or whatever the current rate is, whether they're in B, C, or D for Beamers. So there's a couple of increases in there.
So we would, for those there, we're seeing the change because of the new contracts and the salaries. And I would envision next fall we'll do budgeting. It won't be that big. It'll be more of the increase of just.
Exactly. It'll, like we're looking at,
That's
I think 3% is what the contracts are after this year. So it'd be 3, then plus that like 0.25%. So
yeah, the 5-year one where we did the thing and went 3, then 2.
Yeah.
Two,
Yep.
two,
Exactly.
For 3 years. Yeah. Okay. Going down the next line item 010-9700-15.02 health insurance. And it looked like it wasn't because it went up. I'd say it's a good thing. Looks like we took 26,000. That's the one we talked about last meeting.
Yeah, we talked about that before. We switched insurance. We switched insurance companies, which saved us a ton of money. And we had some staffing changes too, which also jumps into that. We need to recognize Terry because she did an excellent job facilitating the changeover from Blue Cross Blue Shield over to MVP Cigna. from where I was sitting, it went very smooth. Everybody's questions seemed to be answered, and it went very well.
And it's about just from the new rate changes for Blue Cross, they jumped the max as to what Vermont would allow percentage wise. And MVP was more like a 3 or 4% increase. So the savings was about $28,000 for this coming year for us, which is not insignificant.
And the rollout to our employees went pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. July 1st, for the finish of it. We're in the middle of it now, but we had a meeting. We had a meeting with MVP. I've helped facilitate a couple of specific questions and specific issues related to people's health concerns. And so far going as good as they can go. Change is hard, but yes, people seem to be breathing a little easier.
Do we know why were the actual costs for fiscal year 2025 so much lower than the budgeted costs for fiscal year 2025?
So what we're seeing there is if we have somebody leave midstream, like in that fiscal year, especially if it's somebody with a family or a spouse, that we just don't spend the money.
Yeah.
Well,
For example, my predecessor had a family plan and I didn't take out.
Gotcha.
Huge difference to that alone. I think it's like $15,000 or $20,000 for the account. So.
Okay. Next one, 9700-15.03 life and disability insurance.
That's just the increase from our insurance carrier.
Okay. Looks like I'm looking down through there to see if anything else. It looked like the other one that moved up a little bit was the unemployment insurance, the 010-9700-48. That change was like the life insurance. There just was a increase of $1,000.
Mm-hmm. So we do an audit on this every year, and sometimes we're close, sometimes we're not. This year we're $1,000 up.
Okay. Any other questions or comments around the benefits from board members? No. Moving on to G, reserve allocation. Maybe that's where we're getting most of our discussion.
The workers, I just got a quick question on that.
Sure.
Sorry to bring you back to that, but
No.
workers' comp, that dropped. What's the reason for that drop? It usually doesn't happen, does it?
Yep, a couple $1,000 or $2,000. Again, that's just based on that workers' comp audit, and then
People would say
It picked the allocation too and the audit that they did and really like hit the percentages of, okay, what percentage is, say, the wastewater treatment supervisor doing office work versus being out in the facility. And that makes a big difference in terms of what your costs are.
Okay.
So, because obviously office work for somebody is not very scary, or injuries aren't likely to happen as much as when they are out in the facility and the injuries that could happen in the yard.
Wow. I'm go there today.
okay.
We're on top of it.
G, okay, general fund reserve allocations, 010-9790-79, public works vehicles and equipment. I see that's zero. I made a little note to myself of, we had 8,000, went zero for a few years. We jumped it last year saying we got to get started again at 12. I put 5,000 question mark there that I wanted to, that I'll tell you up front that I'm going to try to propose to you to put $25,000 in appropriations. No, it's a tight budget with the increases and what we have to do, but the reason I'm comfortable with it being lower is we've done some pretty good vehicles and equipment in the last couple of years, but we really should have something going in there so till next year, hopefully even more. It's up to you. I just.
The problem with not doing it is, yes, the equipment's in decent shape right now, but it's not gonna stay that way. No
Mhm.
matter what we do, things do wear out. So I really agree with you. I think we should put as much in there as we can.
Yeah, and I can tell you that the reason I'm not recommending putting more in there is the next line item, police vehicles and equipment, and we're replacing some vehicles, that's why I'm glad the chief stayed with us here. I'm recommending that we put 20K in there. And normally, I was thinking before the last couple meetings of, it's probably 10 and 10 that we'd want to do. But I'm going, nah, I don't know what you found and how realistic that can be, chief.
On the 2020 right now, 50,000 miles on it for 11.5. Don't know if it's still there. It was there a couple days ago. And obviously that's similar to what we've been buying. And only one of those cars we've had until we come back to buy. This is the why I'm looking for them. And then I found a 22 Durango, 17,000 miles on it for 23,000. And the reason why I was targeting them is pretty good price. The Explorer, everything, the one for 11.5, if it's still there, everything from the hybrid would transfer. We would not buy equipment. With everything, would put them side by side, start bolting one over to the other. So, but pricing new cars, like brand new Dodge, brand new Explorer, I can't get a car right now. Charger, they don't make them anymore, but those, and the Dodge pickup, they're all in the 43 to 48 range with no equipment. To get them fully equipped, you're pushing between 63 and 70. And that's turnkey, basically put your radios and radar in and go. That's what they are now. The last new car we bought was the one I'm driving right now, and that was 23,000. So now they're 40. Historically, we put between 8 and 10,000 in every year. And I knew, okay, I have 45, I'm going to buy this car for 20, and then I start again and have 20 or 22,000, do another cycle up. But cars have exploded since COVID. That's why we've been targeting good used cars to try to get through. I'm not opposed to doing that. Got burned on that one. I didn't say we got burned, just we've had that bubble. We've had it for 3 or 4 years now.
I have a question for Chief. If you had a choice between the car and the SUV, what do you have the most luck with the least amount of maintenance that you've had done?
I'll tell you the car that I'm driving right now has been pretty much brakes. I've had a lot of issues. And I will say all the cars, for the most part, brakes and oil change, except we've got this one contract that we put a lot of money.
And now, how many SUVs do we have that?
We have 3.
How do they hold up versus the cars?
Well, the problem is you can't buy a car. Nobody's making, like Dodge Charger stopped in 23.
The car that you're driving, did you say you could get one similar to that?
Well, I tried. I talked to the dealer in Johnstown, and he said, he called 3 weeks too late. I sold all 17 of them to the New York State Department of Corrections. And he bought them because they were leftovers, and he had them on the lot there. And he sold them all in one shot. So that's why I moved and got prices on the Durango and Explorer. I've been as far out as Missouri.
Okay, so you're looking basically right now for an SUV because that's all you can
Basically, until they come back up with a car. But with Ford, they don't make the Taurus anymore, but the Taurus and the Explorer until 19 are the same car. There's a different body. Everything underneath the thing, the brakes are the same.
So the Ford Explorer you're looking at, is that, what year is that?
That's a one.
20, so it wouldn't be the same as a Ford Taurus then?
No, because they don't make that anymore, but it'd be identical to what you see new on the road.
Okay.
Again, I did look, that one it took a light hit back. I did the photos of it before they fixed it. I don't know. Again, 11.5, I'm like, why is this car so low? So I worry, but we've bought 4 cars there. One we've had problems with, and the other 3 have been good. So
I was just
the
curious
hitters
on what
on-
you're, just on what you're,
I mean, ultimately, we'd like to buy new cars, but I understand is there for one car. I mean, Grandma's last car, turnkey was 68,000. Nice to be able to do that, but we don't put away enough money to do that.
and I know it's a necessity that the department needs one. So, I mean, I think we gotta look long and hard. I mean, not look long and hard, just to figure speech, but you know, we gotta jump
we were
on
gonna do
something
it
soon before they're all gone.
I mean, my thought would be, used to be 10, but if you look at a new car with no equipment, that's 45. So when you break that out, you're looking at 13 or 14,000 a year. Say, okay, in 3 years you can buy a new one.
Right.
In theory, buy a new one. We might buy a used one for less, but I'm just.
So the lesser of the lesser of the two evils is get one that we could just take our stuff and put it right into, more or less.
To solve the immediate problem would be to buy the identical car. I mean, just the console alone, that car was $1,700. So if you could literally park them side by side and just start transferring everything, every part over.
That makes the most sense.
So that's kind of where I am on reserves. It's a slippery slope. I've seen it go from 5,000 to 0 to where we put it out on the ballot to vote. You know, if we had larger amount of money, and then we were at 10, then during tight budget years, we've gone to 0. And it's just really hard from our standpoint to try to plan out. Our cars are on the road almost every day, so it kind of comes down to need.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate it.
Well, and in putting it in the reserve account, and I guess I'm looking to you, Joe, for advice on this one. Because it's, to put it in reserve account, still July 1 before we get those monies. And you, sounds like you need a car replacement now. You found the one that you were talking about for 11. Do we have
11.
monies where we can limp our way into July 1 to,
We have 21,000, so you would have 10 grand to start. If you put in 20, we'd have 30 July 1 to start building corresponding. If we did that.
I just think that makes the most sense, but that's just my.
It may not be there. I would call them as soon as possible if there was a decision to call. If it's not there, we're back to the drawing board. The next one I'm looking at is 23,000. That's 17,000. That's a 22.
and understanding what, I think if I understand what you were talking about, the 20 is to fill this immediate need gap and to get us sure we get there. More realistically speaking, next fall, when you're talking reserves for police equipment, it sounded like 10 to 15,000 is probably the number that I think that's what I heard that you need year over year to
Yeah, say 40, even if you go to 50,000, push it a little hot, but the basic car with no equipment is 43 and 48 right now, depending on which model you get, and those prices fluctuate. You might walk in, they're going to say, oh, we have a special services Dodge pickup that we're going to give you a deal on versus an Explorer. So you might want into that one's 41 today versus the Explorer at 44. Or tomorrow the Durango might be 43. But that's where the range is now. So if you just take that number and kind of divide it out over, 3 years, I guess, if you look at it. We used to be on a 3-year car replacement cycle, and I bought a used car that kind of started changing it. And then buying used seemed to work. And not everybody's happy with it, but they're police cars. You're going to go out, you drive them, you run them into the ground, and you get what you get for them when you're done. I don't mean to run them in the ground, but they're well used when you get rid of them. They idle a lot.
Understandable. Got a job to do.
The one car that I was looking at, 53,000. If you average 15,000 a year, you're probably going to get 5-6 years out of the 20. It's kind of, we average about 10 years. So my car we bought October of 17 on drive, and it has just turned 98,000 miles. So ultimately, if we keep it, I'd like to get 3 or 4 years out of it, which is that 140 mark, 150. But so I've been here 22 years of Jeep. I've had 2 cars that I've driven. So we've done all right over 20 years.
It's good.
So asking you as a board about, do we put 20K in there and 5K in the one above it? I'm thinking next year makes it easier to take next year and move that 20 to 15 and put the 5 up above it and go 10, 15, and you're already
I agree.
building in that.
I think we should put at least 20 in the police cars.
Yeah.
Because like the chief says, right now, these figures are right now, but every year they're gonna go up.
They don't give us the deals they used to. It used to be smoking deals, like the car that I had, the 40,000, but they sold it, the contract bid was 23. You don't get that. Crazy. The only other thing I wanted to note was the plan would be to take the higher. Maybe try to sell it. So if we got 5,000 for it, but that money would go out. In theory, if we bought that at $1,000, but he's really on a $6,000, 500 into replace.
We have enough in there to buy that right now.
So if we did that, like Rich said, you'd have enough to get that vehicle right now.
To go tomorrow. In theory. And I'm not pushing it. I mean, if you guys think I'm not saying that we'll get by. I mean, we're getting by. Just like I find deals and it's hard to say that car was there 2 weeks ago. And a lot of times when it comes to another meeting, it's not there. But again, it may not be there tomorrow.
What's your pleasure, gentlemen?
I think we ought to authorize the chief to do that.
But that we put in the budget 20,000 and we put the 5,000 in for. Okay. Do that.
I don't think we got any choice, guys. I mean, I know we're trying to keep everything low, but
This is a necessity.
the country's not cooperating with us. Everything's higher. I mean, New York State, they just went to 17% tax increase over there. Just across the border. That's a big hit. It's coming. I don't know what to do about it. I don't like it either. I don't know what to do.
Well, this is fiscally responsible. This is putting.
I know it is. And
This is the right answer.
And I think if this card will do our job and we can get this so we can just transfer everything over to constables the same, I think it's our best option at this point in time.
They are the same year, they're same everything, just one is a straight up gas, one is the hybrid. Like I said, I told you last meeting, G-Stone looked at it, they have a hybrid guy, and then he went. It might be here to the point where they didn't want to work. But it might be a day, month, 6 months.
No one has a crystal ball when it comes to these automobiles.
Is your equipment still in the hybrid, or did you already cleaned it out?
No, we've driven it around.
Okay.
Needed it. The problem is some days you go to step on the gas and it don't move. Or I drove it back from Middlebury and didn't have a problem.
Yeah.
If you're out trying to work with it, it'll shut itself off. It'll overheat. You'll wait and it'll start it. It'll go. So it's hit or miss.
Okay.
What you're going to get day to day. It's like there's electrical gremlin. It's moving through the car. What happens? It's not reliable or safe.
Hope we can get rid of that gremlin for you.
Oh, okay. So moving on the reserves, there's the one for reappraisal that's zeroed out. My understanding, we have enough money for the reappraisal in there. So this is not the year we want to start getting money back for reappraisal. So I'm on 010-9790-79.04 streets and sidewalk.
You're on that.
I'm on page 10.
Streets and sidewalks.
And this is where I'd like to ask you to bear with me for a minute. And I want to talk about two different things at the same time. Reserve allocation, which I'm not recommending. I think streets and sidewalks, we got to do something. We have $450,000 for the grade school to Liberty for sidewalk and everything else. What I'd like to talk to you about is saying putting nothing in there, but the way I want to recommend that we address streets and sidewalks is that if we are successful in getting the 1% option tax passed in March. And we feel conservatively for anything from 250 to 500,000. All depends if you're being real conservative or being real hopeful. I'll give you that range. But I'd like to say that if the 1% option tax were to go through, then I'd ask you to earmark 220,000 for of the 1% option tax to do that, so that you're not going out asking for money or anything else. Also, I was thinking, and when we come up and do our information meetings in January, if we tie in with some of our reserve funds, some of the things we want to do, like we'll talk on our a la carte page in a minute, if we can tie, the more we can tie those in, I think the more we can make it understandable when people sit there and say, what am I getting for my 1% option tax? Well, let me tell you what you can get. We'll earmark monies to fix your sidewalk and get lighting downtown. At the same time, I want to skip over, because there isn't any increases in the rest of them on that reserve. Don't put anything in the reserve until you get down to recreation, park, and maintenance fund. There's two different things going on. If you look at the a la carte page, you'll see that 3 items are sitting there. Lighting for the playground at 10,000, staging for Memorial Day parade at 10,000, repairs to the gazebo at 5,000, $25,000 worth of money. I'm saying, boy, that would be another place where maybe some of these a la carte things might be able to get done with option tax money. Also, though, to be fair to the rec committee, who would be saying, boy, we want to put backstop and stuff in there, and we want $30,000. I'm recommending on the recreation, it doesn't have a number, it just says recreation and park maintenance fund, and it has 0 there. I'm recommending that we earmark, if the option tax were to pass in March, $30,000 for the recreation fund, and let our newly formed recreation committee prioritize what the most important projects to work on at that time. Understanding that as we go forward, I'd be using this as another example of, if we're successful, and I will shamelessly tell you, I would love to have the recreation committee out talking up the 1% option tax, because that's how we fix things without taking and adversely affecting our taxpayers. Here, it comes from just an option tax versus raising the tax base, and we get the things like what you saw on the a la carte. But I heard and I'm going from memory because I don't have their application, Joe, but I thought it was a backstop, redoing an infield and something else. They spelled out what they thought they needed, 30,000. And I'd rather say, recreation committee, you got a lot of responsibilities. Not only just down behind the grade school, but here in the park, you prioritize, because it's all in that one budget. But so I'm not saying that we put anything in reserves here, but I want to have the discussion with us, because we're going to talk the other thing, to say, I would really was curious about what your thoughts of earmarking monies from the 1% option tax to help us in some of these areas we can't put reserve funds in. Because sometimes even building up to the monies you're talking about, building up to 200 to 450, we wouldn't be getting the sidewalk in my lifetime if we didn't do it a different way. And even 30K, when you're doing probably reserve funds, you're doing that at $5,000 to $10,000 at a time if you're lucky. Takes you a while to get there. I don't know what your thoughts are.
I think it's a good option. Really good.
And again, not to be, I know I muddy the waters a little. So under the reserve fund, the only thing I'm saying that we put in there this year is the 5,000 for DPW and the 20,000 for the police vehicles. But I want us to be thinking, it's not like we don't have a plan and we're just saying we're not going to do anything for some of these other line items. We're just going to try to deal with them a different way. That's all. Yeah. And you don't need a decision tonight. I mean, I threw
That's
a
excellent.
lot for you.
Yeah, that's a really good way of thinking about it, though, Glenn. I think.
It is, but I have a question on the alloc or thing you gave us here. Lighting for playground, what kind of lighting are they, that $10,000, what kind of lighting they're looking to get down there?
So this is when we started talking about adding cameras to the playground. Cameras don't do a good job at night, right? They do pretty good, but not real good. So there are a few spots like near the bathroom, near the play structure itself, where they can pull, but no, lack of a better term, street light in, so that way it better illuminates the area.
Are you looking to do that only in spot where the cameras are? Or are you looking to do that just all around?
Again, by the two playground structures, like I'm not gonna put one out near the, in the baseball field, but
Yeah.
but near the structures and near that restroom, just
Okay.
where we have the most problem handles.
Have we looked at, I know this day and age, solar goes a long way. I do know they make street lights that can be run on solar. So as soon as the sun goes down or it's a cloudy day, boom, the lights kick on. Then you're not running electricity. It's run by itself. I mean, how much would like solar lights?
I can't imagine it would be less expensive.
The
This is dropping
initial cost of putting the poles and structures in
Is going to be the most
is where the money is.
Yeah.
The maintenance after the fact. I mean,
in the long
the
run.
LED bulbs and whatnot take very little electricity.
Yeah.
Solar is a better option. You don't have to dig them, run wire and everything. You just plant them. So that's one thing to look at. Cost wise, I don't know what the comparison would be between the solar structure and a conventional structure with LED setup. I don't know.
Okay. It's just an idea, a thought I had just floating around. I mean, if it would save money in the long run.
It may, I don't know.
I mean, I just think it should be looked at. I mean, we gotta try to save money somewhere. I mean,
I didn't know when I put the original thought together about doing that 25,000 there. I didn't realize that the rec was going to be asking to put 30,000.
it's
And
a lot.
so I look at those and I'm just going to say about the lighting and some other things probably may not happen. I think they'd use the 30,000. I think they wanted to redo feel. If Chad was here, he'd be able to tell you, this is what they're doing. But let's give them.
Yeah, the rec committee did a nice job getting the prices. What they did was they looked at the big field, big baseball diamond, and if you look where the home plate is as compared to the backstop, there's a big distance there. So if you get a ball that goes past the catcher, I mean, you're getting 2 or 3 bases on that run. So they want to move that backstop a little closer, move the dugouts in.
I played on that field. I have a problem with that backstop.
So yeah, it's a little hinky. So
No.
that's the plan to improve.
It's interesting.
So, if I can wrap up the reserves, is there anything else in the reserves you guys would like to? I think $25,000 is more than what I thought going in there because it's where we are. And I haven't even seen when he runs the numbers yet where it'd be. I'd rather have the.
I would like, I mean, I don't know, $30,000, but we should prioritize what comes first. This or a backstop? The backstop a real necessity right off, let's
Do we, let me answer this, because I'm sensitive to, we have a committee that feels they've done some great work, feels, I think if we went in and told them what our priority was, I don't know how empowered or how well that committee would feel about themselves.
I'm not saying they're doing a bad job, I mean, it's just, but that's also on your repair to the gazebo. The gazebo, everybody sees and goes by and.
I would also say you're trying to get a local option tax passed, and the people on the rec committee have a
Our key players.
intense amount of pull in this.
They are key.
So if you can give them a little carrot.
Well, like I'm saying, I'm not saying she's doing a bad job, I was just curious, that's all. I mean,
You know, I'm not on camera here. I don't want to give them a carrot. I want to give them a hug. Well, I want them to know we love them. And that we
I'm a big
appreciate,
advocate for
and we'd appreciate
sports, everything.
I mean,
Very big advocate. I just was curious, just seeing this stuff, trying to think for the future. That's all I'm looking for.
You're hitting a large demographic. You're hitting a lot of, the parents, most parents, not all, but a vast majority of parents of younger children have kids who play sports. Whether they continue at high school, that's a different story. But at the younger levels, a lot of kids play. And so they're down there, and that would be something, like Glenn said, where they would see what am I going to get for this?
it's all hearts and minds. Once you get the hearts, heck, they'll go out and raise the funds to fix the gazebo. They'll little fundraisers.
I'm not
And we'll
opposed to helping them anyway.
Yeah, I saw something,
It's-
maybe I just, Mr. Thought.
Can I just very quickly ask the question I've been mulling over? I think we're putting 5,000 back in for public works, which seems wise. The number was 12,000 for budget year 2026. That's a very specific number to me. Do we recall how we arrived at that number for fiscal year 2026?
Don't recall how we landed on that. It could have very well been, it could have been at 20 and we cut it back a little bit to make a percentage.
We did.
To make a percentage, we
did
came
cut
out,
it. We did cut it back.
Or so if you didn't have any.
it's like we went from zero, it says we can't have zero. What do we got and how are we gonna put a little in multiple ones? It wasn't.
In my opinion, we should put something in every reserve account. But I understand our taxpayers, and I understand that we can't always do that. So that being said, infrastructure, public safety are the two most important things that we can do. If we don't keep our sewer and water lines fixed and our roads safe,
Mm-hmm.
and public safety, the police department has an awful lot to do with that. So we have to keep them in cars and supplies they need. Everything else, I mean, yes, sports is great. We need it. We really need to support that. But what do we do? This is what we need. We need something to help us.
I mean, I think again, I don't want to belabor. When I look at the 30K, I can tell you my disappointment is I was expecting the rec committee to raise, they could raise $30,000 pretty easily, but I'm not ready to take, I don't think we want to take that fight. That's not where we are right now. So I'm looking as we get better and get things there, maybe the opportunity for self-sustaining and paying for some of those things will happen. Right now, I think it's anything else on reserve for that pass? Okay, general fund appropriations.
Appropriation.
Isn't that, let me see. No, we're not on appropriations. I'm sorry. What? You get it? We just finished. Appropriations already been done, right?
Yeah, so your appropriations, those are the things that our nonprofits, library and rescue squad send into us. And you don't have any control over that.
Can I talk that one, even though we've been there a little bit on that? He's gonna run some numbers and he's gonna show us the percentage and they're gonna go, oh my God, it's pretty high. The reason I mentioned appropriations is the only way if we see the percentage and we need to bring the percentage back, that we can bring it back maybe a percentage point. If I looked at when we did our DPW on 030 paving and we added and brought it up to 200K, there's a lot of ways to have 200K in paving. I would like us to put, us as a board, put an appropriation request for $50,000 and move the 200K back to 150. It still comes out to $200,000 for paving. Doesn't change what the plan would be. Our history of appropriations getting approved in this town is pretty good. And we have some history. I think it was Buddy Bowen put in a $50,000 request. It got approved. So I'm telling you that I feel pretty confident that the 200,000 that we talked about for paving, we can get there. I'm encouraging us to let the taxpayers tell us they want to spend that in appropriations, and it also makes our overall budget. I don't know what it does to the final percentage.
So the board, let me make sure I got it. The board wants to put a ballot question on asking for $50,000.
I'm just showing it out.
Which line item is it that we're referring to? The 200,000 for paving? Where does that appear?
Go to 030. Go to 030.
030?
Yep. Go to 030. And it was in your packet. And let me pull that one out.
Outside road work? That be the one?
Yep. The outside road work where it went up from
Like 27.
to 200 even. I thought we went to.
Yeah, there it is.
There's the 100,000.
Well, 13,000.
Remind me why the actuals for 2025 were 0 again? Refresh my memory
Which one?
for that line item.
Oh, for that line item?
Yeah.
Those should not.
Shouldn't, it actually,
Spent all the money there.
right.
Okay.
Don't know why it's 0. It should be everything.
That might be a typo on my side.
Because we moved it up. Again, it's saying, let's take, 50,000. The whole reason, move that number back.
And why did we go to 187 for 2026? Just looking back at past years, was there a % increase that we were targeting, or what was the?
So when 8 years when I got here, there was only 100,000 in the kitty, and they've been using that 100,000 for years.
We've actually been.
Yeah, we bumped it up a few times. We were sitting at 180, and then we wanted to do some crack sealing, and that's where the 7,000 came from.
I can think.
I was just gonna say I'm all in favor of adding an appropriation for additional road work. I'm hesitant to reduce that number from where we were on the last budget, at least as significantly as you suggested, going down to 150 for 2027. Is that what you were suggesting, Glenn?
30, right. 30. Here's the reason why, just to let you know.
Yeah.
Not reducing anything, because I feel that you're gonna get $200,000 for paving. The $50,000 appropriation for paving is gonna pass, and we're gonna spend. Whatever you go down, understand, I'd be looking next fall at this time. We've been trying to get paving up so that you can get ahead of paving. I fully expect 200K is your starting point but it's gonna be a lot easier to keep your increase in your tax next year without the 5-year contract.
If the appropriation were to pass, would it stay in place for a certain number of years? Can you remind me, or would it just be one for
One shot,
budget?
it's a one-shot deal.
Okay.
So if technically we'll say, if it passes, that money will go into the O&O budget, right? That money will not be there. So you could theoretically move that O&O budget next year, if it passes, move that 50,000 out, put it in 030, and it wouldn't change your total increase next year.
I'm not sure I totally followed that. I'm sorry.
Right?
Appropriations.
So let me try. Okay, so let's.
Appropriations go into 010.
Yeah. Okay.
So that part I got, but the part about moving it from 010 to 030 the following year, I didn't follow.
So if we see the screen, the 200,000, let's just imagine that's 150.
Okay.
All right. Now we bump over here, and here's our voter approved paving. Now this is 0 now. We're saying paving is 150 current.
Yeah.
This is now $50,000 on this line
For 2027.
for 2027. Now you're rolling into 2028. What am I going to do? There's $50,000 in this line
Already there.
already there that was approved previously. So you could theoretically move that over to 030 and it doesn't increase your budget.
But I understand why you're looking. It doesn't automatically come back as an appropriation on the next March.
Yeah, it's not.
Because it's the one we put in.
Okay.
And I know you.
Is that
So that you're saying the total budget in 2028 then wouldn't it be increasing by that 50,000 because it existed in 010 in 2027. I follow that. Okay. But that line item would still for 2028 have to be increased to make up the difference if we didn't want to take the appropriation again or vote have the voters.
Right. Well, you would just snatch the money here and put it up there, and it wouldn't change your overall budget.
Yeah, I follow that.
And I think if you were listening a few weeks ago when everyone was talking, you were hearing some rumbling about someone putting in an appropriation for a lot more than that for paving.
500 and so.
Well, of course, anyone who doesn't pay their taxes would say, "Oh, I'm not going to sign an appropriation for 500." But this is, I think that the risk, is there risk? Yes, there is risk. I don't want to make light of it. We could have $150,000 for paving. We've operated before with that kind of money. We just do what you can because that's what our taxpayers say they can handle. But if we want to, I still think that if you take that 50,000 out, because I think when you run, I bet your number's going to be fine before you take it out.
That's what we're going to look at today.
I mean, that's the reason I'm saying. You might be saying, why, Glenn, if you've got the same money going there, do you want to do it this way? Because I'm not convinced that a budget increase of 4.5%, 5% will get passed by our voters. And you don't want to be back here on this
I
table.
hear what you're saying.
You don't want to be back here trying to cut stuff.
I hear what you're saying. But listen, hear me out just for a few minutes here.
Okay.
We're haggling over. If we increase that paving budget by $12,000 or 13,000 this year. Suppose we've done that. Now we're talking about cutting it back. The problem is everything goes up so much. Trucking, price of materials, asphalt. So we're actually dropping probably 5-6% every year off that 187. So we're getting that much less. And we're talking about increasing it by 3%. We're still way behind the 8 ball.
Mm-hmm.
People have to understand that.
And the only reason I'm sitting here saying this, we are dealing with those 2 5-year contracts and those pay increases. And folks, when you go and look to try to get this budget reasonably for a pass, I keep coming back. There's only one place I can get it out of, and that's paving. But we're already at bare bones everywhere.
I understand.
Paving is bare bones.
I understand that. But it's just like the price of vehicles. They've doubled or tripled.
Yeah.
and we're not allowing any more money for them. I mean, something's gotta give someone. You know, it's everything, and no matter what we talk about, it's the same scenario. We're falling behind the 8 ball.
If I were going to suggest a middle path, we drop it from 200 to 187 rather than 150. And I would feel much more comfortable with that.
And then try to go 50,000 on appropriations.
Well, I don't have a problem with doing that as long as, where else are you gonna cut to come out to get the increase that will pass?
I don't know, but
Cause then we gotta go back and take more out.
I don't have.
I could support
I
that.
was just making a suggestion.
No, but I'm saying I could support that if we were taking it out somewhere else. We'll go back and we'll take it out. If you don't want to take it out there, we'll take it out. And Public Works looked a little pricey, so that's the place I'd go back and look at all the line items and see if I could make up the difference to get to 50,000.
This is if I could interject.
Yeah.
So right now, just to get at 4%, you're gonna have to cut 75,000 out of the budget.
Yeah.
Your paving budget is the only place to cut it. We're already at the bone. That's really the only option, unless you want to start impacting other services like the police or fire department. We've plowed thousands of stuff. I think we plowed almost 128,000 back into the budget after I brought it down to 3% at the beginning of the year.
And that going on.
This is, the appropriation is a reasonable idea. We're really behind, it's a rock and a hard place.
Can I ask the question, what has the percentage increase of the total budget been year over year historically? Because I'm sure we
2-3%.
I've had a 2.3% increase. I've had as high as a 4% increase.
but you think 4% has been your highest in your tenure?
Or 4.2, yeah, very low.
Okay.
But that's why we're behind the 8 balls, because we've been suppressing the budget.
We've only, at 4%, we're not even keeping up with,
You're not.
keeping up with everything.
Yeah, but will the town vote for something?
I was just gonna say, we had just, what year was it that it was just, you could count the votes that it.
Yeah, 2 years ago, it passed by what, 5 votes?
You get your budget, your budget gets voted down, you're gonna come back and you almost have to start talking heads to have the money that's gonna pass.
I have a question. Last year, the budget passed, what were we at?
Percentage, oh, it was what, 3.5, 4,
It was like 4,
or 2?
yeah.
What do we have
Right
right
now,
now?
4%.
If we were to leave it as is right now, what do we have?
You're at 6.8 for what you control.
6.8. And I'm
To get down to
I'll
4,
get
you
here
need
and
to
tell you
cut
that I'm gonna
75,000.
go on 6.8.
6.
So that would be a 2% jump. Little over 2, if it was, well, a little less than 2%, it was 4 point something, and it's at 6% right now, it's.
Folks are reading the papers and looking at the school budgets that are knocking 4.8. Castleton, they're working, I think they're at 5. They're at right now. But
I think if you look around, our 6% right now, is it more than everything's out around? No. Are we one of the higher ones? I'm sure I haven't done my homework on it.
I'm trying to look at school budgets and what the percentage increases are. Some are at 1 point, at the lowest school budget I saw was 1.8. And I've seen others that are in the around the 6, and I think they're trying to stay 5 and 6%. But if you towns, I think you're gonna. I don't believe a 6% when I look at what we vote on. Because I think right here today and say, if I was going in voting, no, don't care what the argument is. And I understand where the money's going. I said, go back and sharpen your pencil.
So
Wouldn't support it.
as of right now, I feel that it's gonna be shot down at 6%. I mean, just because it's higher than it was last year, it wasn't. That's a lot of money to try to cut out to get down to 4% though.
Well, somehow, I don't mind if we can get in that 4.5 range. Under 5, I think carries some weight. You can come in under 5, and we have a very good explanation of we did some people might say some pretty draconian things during COVID to get by. And we're trying to rebalance the scale, and we're getting pretty close. We're doing a heck of a job. But we're not, this year will get us to where I think the increases will be more reasonable. We just got to get it. Now, I don't know when you say set to get it to, we need 75 out to get it to 4 what?
4% even.
Wow.
What do we need to get, what gets us to 4.5? And if that means we don't have to take 50,000 out, we can leave more for paving, I'm all for that, to get you to 4.5.
Let's see what happens when we take out 50. $50,000 get you down to 5.4%.
See, now, that's the, and I don't dare take more out of paving, I won't get.
Now, I know we've already gone over some others departments, but are we able to go back through?
Oh, yeah.
And try to,
Well,
okay, let's,
oh yeah.
what if we, let's do 3 here, 3 here, 3 here. It'll add up eventually, but you're also,
What if we do it like this? So if the board is happy with what you looked at today, I'll go back, find some spots to whittle down.
yeah.
Run some more numbers again.
I think that's our best case scenario, to try to get it to, like Glenn said, 4.5.
Well, and don't let me, if you've got some thoughts of what you think, but if, I just think that anything under 5%, I think it's going to be close, but I think we can get it passed.
But yeah, but I think we gotta go back through and just look back and be like, okay,
Somehow people are gonna have to understand the prices of everything.
yes,
And a lot of them don't.
Does,
This is the problem.
they're all
It's
black and white. They
I
don't
mean,
open.
I've said what I've said 2 or 3 times tonight, and I don't know if anybody's heard it yet.
about the price of stuff and how it goes up. But yeah, at the end of the day, I'm saying,
I mean,
then you're going to have pothole roads. I mean, you can't manufacture money
I
if
hear
you
you.
do the things that are out there.
I hear
I
you.
had an argument literally with someone the other day that it doesn't cost what we calculated to pave a half mile, like we're wrong.
At what?
No, I literally paid the bill. Like, I actually know what it costs, and yep, that was, no, that's not it.
So they're part of the problem, they're not part of the solution.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's,
This is what I'm getting at.
Yep.
So there are things that can be reduced, and I will just give you an example. Road paint. I can take that completely out, or I can half it, with the understanding that when the residents come along and say, boy, that road needs to be painted, we have to stand as a team and say, sorry, we had to cut that budget. Or that tree needs to be cut down. It's like, it's going to cost $10,000. We have to stand as a team and say, we don't have the money.
This is the problem with that. This is the problem with everything. $10,000 to take a tree down is outrageously high. But I know that's the cost, because I know the equipment costs a lot of money. I know the insurance costs a lot of money. And I know that people need a decent pay. I know all that. There's some of these people don't know that, don't realize it, and don't want to know.
So let me go back and I'll bring some suggestions to the board for ways to bring it down to 4. If you're comfortable with 4.5, I can find a way to, and it'll be 50,000 out of
4.5 or a little bit less if you can.
I'll bring some suggestions to the board, and then we'll do.
Paint,
that would be good.
if we don't paint 1 year, I mean, I don't think the paint's been very good anyway. I don't know if 1 year is going to make a difference anyhow.
Well, the state's coming through doing downtown, so that don't have to worry about it.
So I'll take care of someone.
But the state doing.
Yeah. Okay.
Does that work? So I can move this on to a la carte list? Because that's the other, and then we can talk, we can then talk, yes, let's do it. That's the handout. The thing on this list, Joe, when I'm looking at it,
I've got one that was,
I thought it was pretty good where we'd actually been able to chip away at quite a few things that didn't make the original. They fell on the cutting room floor and we found a way to get some of them done. So that's a good thing. When I looked at the probable projects here, the biggie that jumped out, of course, was the sidewalk replacement, and that 450K number.
And that's probably not an overpriced.
No.
That's probably, you may not get it done for 450,000, what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, Belvin quoted that.
Did they?
They quoted, yeah, that. Right.
How long was that quote good for?
I mean, I got it a few months ago, so it's definitely not good till next year.
Through this,
But it'll be close.
Yeah. Cannon maintenance, I know it's an eyesore. I don't know, maybe there's some donation money somewhere that could come along to help that. I don't know. Staging for the Memorial Day parade, that seems rather high to me. It really, really does for 2 or 3 hours worth of work, worth of whatever show and tell. Memorial Day is important, but
what did we pay for rent this year? Do we know? The staging we rented?
Do you remember this? I don't remember. Couple $1,000.
I was just, sometimes when you talk about the holding containers and what we rent to buy and all that good stuff. If we rent for X number of years, you can own it. I understand that's why it's here. Well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I mean, the lighting for the playground, yes, it's nice. Could it be public safety? Possibly.
Is it,
Not infrastructure.
in light of where we are, am I safe in saying that the a la carte stuff, it's nice to keep track of what we have to do. No, when we're talking about going back and cutting right here, anyone have any strong feelings that something has to be on that isn't there? We have to find a way.
So these items could also, I mean, you don't have to put it in your budget. You could say, hey, I want to put a ballot item out there.
We can,
Shall the voters approve $10,000 put lighting in? It doesn't have to be in your budget.
mm-hmm. That'll lead into another one. I get myself in all kinds of trouble from making. Well, when we get to ballot questions, which is you're going to do the segue into the ballot questions. There's a page that was in your mailbox that dealt with, that's where the $30,000 for rec, where I read it, and I said, whoops, what was this?
Yeah, so the a la carte, that just if you read it, my department heads and I cut our operating budget to bare bones, and then as a way to be transparent, we say, these are the things we'd really like, so that way we're not just stuffing our projects in there. We say, this is, and it's up to the board to add back to it, not subtract. So, but moving on to the warrant article. So this was the page that I stuck in the folder. This is the article that the Recreation Committee would like to add to the ballot. The board can put the board can put ballot questions on money for this, whatever project you wish.
In light of saying what we wanted a year, when I saw this one right here, first thing I did is put a line through that and said, no. I'm in the rec committee, put a ballot item on the backstop in a field with all the things that we need to do. And someone does the signatures and put it on the ballot, fine. But when you come back and,
Okay.
when you come back and go to the reserve account that we said, if the 1% option tax goes through, that's how you get your $30,000 there, or you go and raise $30,000. But going and saying, let's go and get $30,000 to put a backstop and do an infield. There's nice to have and there's gotta have to operate. That's just me.
Well, like I say, the voters should have the final word on something like that. They wouldn't be able to complain if the budget's too high.
If they voted that in, I'd take the 30,000, the option tax goes through and do the items.
The only problem for me, I think, in voting to put this on the ballot is that I don't feel like I have a lot of context. And I heard backstop suggested as potential use of this money, but that was just an example. We don't know that's what.
Well, I think we'd have to.
No, that's exactly what they.
Is that what they?
Yeah, that's 100% what that money is. They went out and got quotes and they got quotes for the backstop and for the dugouts and for concrete pumping.
Okay.
No, they've done their due diligence.
Okay.
And the reason the reason it doesn't say to replace backstop and dugouts, it's easier to put it into a reserve fund just in case something happens next year and to first it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
The money doesn't disappear if it's in your reserve fund. Otherwise, it does disappear.
They would only need, would it be 30 signatures to get it on the ballot? How many signatures would they need to get it on the ballot?
It's like 100, isn't it?
10,
It's 10.
5%, 10%, something like that.
Okay.
Off the top.
Well,
I thought you didn't need to go get signatures anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The nonprofit.
We've got
for
it back to
appropriations.
everyone but the rescue squad. But I'm disappointed we don't have someone sitting here, so we're not guessing and talking with, and now that we actually have a conversation. Because I had a room full of people one night saying how they were gonna go out and raise money and everything was gonna be wonderful, self-sustaining, just get us started.
So ads and donations and all that, it would be kind of nice to know.
87,000 plus 30,000, we got one heck of a recreation. We seem to be right,
Are those guys
you're
still
right
on
along
the
there.
I have a question.
Okay.
In our town here, we have quite a few people that own businesses that are builders, contractors, whatever. I know a lot of times in other towns, as a baseball coach, football coach, other towns, and you see these things with people's names on them. Backstop in this or that. Have we thought, or have they thought about going to these local business people that are construction workers and be like, hey, would you be willing to do this? And we will say backstop.
They're getting a lot of donations. for
Yeah.
this.
You know what I'm saying? That way there, we're not having to worry about this $30,000 and where's it gonna go? A lot of it be.
The $30,000 is at a reduced. What's the guy's name that does the fences?
Probably getting mainly materials, they're doing the labor and.
Homestead, are you talking out Cornwall?
Homestead Fence, is that who it is? He's the one that yeah, we're getting like
Jeremy had that. I went to school with them.
I think it's him, but yeah, they're giving us a sharply reduced
Yeah.
rate.
Yeah. Well, kicker last year.
Oh, Jack Almeida.
Almeida, that was it, Almeida, yeah, it's his dad, Bob. Thank you.
All right.
I mean, I'm not 100% that guy, but no, they're getting an extreme deal to get this done. So yes,
I didn't realize they already had somebody.
yeah,
I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that.
no.
But what's your,
So my thought was, it's not that many signatures that they would need to get, where I don't see why they couldn't just go out and get them to put it on the ballot if they wanted to. At the same time, because the number of signatures they need is so small, it feels mostly symbolic to a certain extent. So why wouldn't we just do the good faith thing and with respect to the rec and just put it on. I'm of both minds. And then I think about the empty chair and I think about what would Chad say if he were here, and especially given his involvement with local baseball, I find myself very curious to hear his thoughts. So there's part of me that almost wants to table it for the next meeting. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's enough. I mean, we have an empty room almost.
I worry, rec is doing so much great stuff and we've come a long way, but I worry that as they're, you know, you're going, we've taken and done a lot with that budget. This right here would put that budget over, we would have spent over $100,000. Understand, as we talk about 150 for critical paving, that we're putting $100,000 into, when I listen to so many people say, hey, just get us seed money, just get us started. We'll take care of the other things. I'm just going, folks, you can have the hearts and minds of the voters for just so long. Don't risk it. But I don't.
Well,
I say,
it's baseball, it only deals with half your
right.
youth too. I mean, so we're only dealing with the boys deal.
I hear.
Yes.
Oh yeah, you're not dealing with the Mary Ganfield. There's on so many levels. I have trouble with this. What?
So, I don't know how the board feels, but it felt like the 1% was a great option for this.
That was the win-win.
It seemed like it to me. It just we talked about it before, and it seems like a great way to really show people where that money would go. It's like one of those, like, you want this, great. This is a physical thing that you want that will be paid for through this tax.
Yeah.
Last time we did it, I felt like people weren't, like, they really didn't know where the money was going to go, and they thought we were just going to scoop it up and put it in the kitty. But I really like that idea. It was a real world option.
Was that suggestion made to anyone on the rec committee before they submitted that?
No, they submitted this a month, 2 months ago. Yeah, it's been a while. Okay. But I can definitely call them, and because we still have one more meeting, so I can let them know what's going on.
So
I'd rather
they can come in and talk at our next, that's our drop dead meeting.
The next one, yeah. We're almost there.
We can do that.
You know,
I don't know.
I mean, that option tax, if we can't get that option tax, we're dead in the water.
Really?
We really are. And everybody thinks that it increases their taxes. It's a tax increase, but it's spread out amongst everybody that drives through town. So it's a no-brainer for me. Honestly.
To piggyback up from that, everybody in this room, I guarantee you shops in Rutland, and you're paying it there. You're paying it there.
And they are.
And in New York.
Yeah.
I shop at New York. I have no problem doing it.
Don't even think about it.
The voters in town should have no problem doing it. I don't understand why they don't want it in their town. I don't get it.
before we get ahead of ourselves. Did we figure out definitively that it does not apply to toiletries and specifically feminine hygiene products? I just wanted to get an answer on that.
I forgot to look.
Okay.
And we still are planning on having an information meeting.
Google it.
Well, that's the thing. I don't.
I'll look.
Okay.
And do we need an information meeting in January? I don't know if it's the first meeting. If we have everything in place to do that, you might want to.
That's the only option.
Is the first meeting?
January 6th, yeah.
Okay.
The book's got to go out on the
Bless
book has got to go out on the 9th. Let's see. It's got to go out to the printer on the 16th. The 15th is when the board signs the warrant.
Okay.
And there's no meeting after that.
So I've got the thing, going to try to move us along. The one on the recreation request, you can reach out, invite them, even talk to them about us talking about the option tax, because they may go, yeah, that's good. But if they still feel strongly, let them come in and talk it. we can know what we're doing. Does that sound like we're doing
Yeah,
that?
and if we make it clear that we would put it, the options tax toward it, then maybe they'd feel differently anyway.
The other things on the warrant article items, I put a couple of them down here. One, the 1% option tax question. One, whatever the legalese of verbiage is that says, hey, do you support 1% option tax? Make sure we got prosper. The other one was, we talked earlier, it was something to the effect to show the voters votes to raise and appropriate $50,000 for additional paving. Whether wherever we end up with that number on that we have, $50,000 is, let's put it out there. There was one other one, and it was more of, never done an advisory type of, I don't think, I'm trying to think but I was wondering, do we actually do a question advisory type question about that $450,000 for sidewalk and lighting from the grade school to Liberty? I fully think we need to do, fully supportive and everything, but the scarring I still have from the last time we had a sidewalk project almost ready to start building, that I have, tells me that I don't want to assume everyone thinks that's wonderful and wants that to happen and thinks that's a good use of $450,000.
This right here.
Do we,
That's
do
not
we,
the
how do you
downtown
feel about
sidewalk.
question saying, we're
What's it
thinking
like
about doing this
School to
and
Liberty.
here's the cost?
Okay.
Well, what are we thinking about?
It starts
I mean, is it
I
or
was
it's
thinking
not the same
school in the back
design.
of the playground.
No, sidewalk.
Cottage
It's
Street.
Sidewalk
I'm thinking,
replacements.
Well, and where the trees were, lighting.
Lighting.
It's sidewalk and lighting, if I remember correctly.
It can be
Does the
Let's-
450,
right,
does the 450 cover that or just the sidewalk?
just a sidewalk.
Then big difference. Then with,
Move into this.
and we can do, right, and maybe multiple lifts to get it done versus one lift, I don't know. Oh, okay,
Lighting in the park, right across.
right, I think because you take the similar light poles and everything, if you're gonna do it, sidewalk and lighting and everything is there. I don't know if that's a good number with lighting. But maybe I'm the only one who's saying, not real sure. I think it's a wonderful thing, but do we need folks to tell us, hey, we think that's a good idea, an advisory type thing? So that at least if we get in the 11th hour, someone pull the rug out from underneath us, we're saying, folks, the voters said, this is what they wanted. That's what we did. We're doing it. Which I don't know maybe I'm just being too defensive.
If it can't hurt, put it on there.
I just haven't seen it.
They absolutely say no, and
If they
forget it.
say, wait a minute, I don't want to spend that kind of money. Sidewalks are bad.
It's just
I can
not-
live, but if someone says, I can live with it, sidewalk. I don't know. And maybe do we leave it? Do we leave it? I don't have my heels dug in on this one. Do we leave it?
We have to decide if we want to put it on the ballot as a question. That's what you're suggesting, right? A ballot question. It would be
Right, an advisory
an
thing.
advisory.
Okay, everything has to be buttoned up at the next meeting. Next meeting is like, there's no, let's do it next meeting. The next meeting is actually the decision, the numbers you're looking at today, the ballot questions, everything. There's no more after that.
And in full disclosure, the reason I like the idea of an advisory on that, because once you put the advisory out question, if it passes, there's an expectation that you do it. And I'm okay with it. There is an expectation and I'm just saying anything that'll help you get it done. But if we want to hold off and make a decision on that one at the next meeting as well, or are you?
Putting off a lot to the next.
Right, I'm
just saying, we're just keep on pushing stuff back. It's just gonna
I say put it on the ballot.
snowball.
As an advisory.
So I'm just afraid.
We're asking is, how do you feel about this?
Not fine, but
Yeah,
there's
it's a
committee.
non-binding question, and you learn so much by asking that question. Like when we say from the Fairhaven Grade School down to Liberty Street.
Mm.
We may come back with yes, but we may hear something of, what are you thinking of? The worst sidewalk in town goes from Durfee's down over the hill or not, or whatever.
We'd have to add turkeys in there, yeah.
I
Inclusive of turkeys.
I mean,
I think if we do this sidewalk here, we should do Murphy's also.
Oh, yeah, we had.
No question.
Without being too specific, my concern is that I have personally voted against ballot items in the past that I would have voted in favor of purely because I did not feel like there was enough information in how they were worded on the ballot.
Yeah.
And so it concerns me not knowing how we would specifically word the question. I'm not in favor of voting to put it on.
So you want it worded so that it's understood.
I would like to know how we're going to word it before I vote on it. That's all.
I'll bring you an example at the next meeting.
we'll bring some wording, proposed wording. But this is gonna be proposed wording. You don't have a problem with moving forward to put some proposed wording together.
Not in the slightest.
Okay, that's really reasonable.
That ballot question, though, the one you speak of, was not brought up by this board. That was worded intentionally so.
Yeah. Anything else board members want to see as warrants on the ballot?
I just want to. Sorry, I know I'm beating a dead horse, but it's so needed and.
I'm going to move along. You got what you need.
It is.
Going to move along to the revenues. The last item that we have to talk about is the revenue sheet. That is the second in your folder. That was that 2-page document. Proposed revenue. Under general revenue and its line item 010-2000-00, current real property tax.
Yeah, let me speak to that real quick.
Every year.
Yeah, so what you're looking at, the real property tax, that's what we're gonna tell the residents, hey, this is how much money we have to take from that's your property tax. Everything below that line is revenue generated by the town. So permits, beverage licenses, when the railroad gives us some money, that's money that comes in outside of your property tax. So when you scroll down to the bottom, it's like, why does it say you have a deficit of 1.4 million? It's because we haven't rolled that property tax in there. And that's because we don't know what your final budget is going to be. Once your budget is finalized, we figure out how much we have to raise in taxes. And then that number will land in that top box. Was that clear? Yeah.
So for me, because every year I come back and ask Joe that question about that empty space. It looks like, it's going to be $1.2 million, $1.3 million, maybe. Could be, but it's all going to be over $1 million, not that 71,000 that you see at the bottom of there. Probably the big one change, and if I skip over something, bring me back. But I'm looking at 010-2000-06 pilot. That money dropped by 21,000, and the explanation is.
Yeah, so the pilot, we were getting like 21,000 from the state because they own the armory. They don't own the armory anymore. We do. So they're not paying us they're not paying us it's in lieu of taxes is what that is. So they're not paying us that money.
So that budget thing and what we're looking to have a revenue coming in, that we need to make up for 21,000. Just, I mean, no, we don't have to make up, but I mean, you can understand why the number, it's already in here, that number, right? But we're not in one.
You're not there yet.
You're not there yet. Take that back. So under the general fund revenue, is there any any place else you want to talk about? Board members? Usually the revenue discussion goes fairly well. We're saying it is what the numbers are what they are. And you, yeah. Okay. Under permit and licenses, though, I do want for a second, 01021-01 vendor permits, the zero that's there. I had a brief discussion with Joe around with us doing food truck frenzies and we also spring clean everything. There should be some vendor money coming in. As a matter of fact, we should even talk about our extremely inexpensive and cheap vendor price. I'm for bumping that up.
Now,
I want to put it, I'd like to see $1,000 put in, just as a start. Then I think we can make $1,000 in vendor fees.
I have a question on the vendor. I know some places charge like a percentage. Like you make so much money, we get 1% of what you make. Does that be, I know something like the fair, like if you have a fair vendor, you pay the fair a percentage of what you make.
Specifically the Rutland County Fair at the fairground.
Yes. So is there, I don't know, never seen or done this, or do we just charge for them to be in that space and they get all their profit, or are we allowed to say, hey, 1% of what you make goes to the town?
We can do whatever we want. It's the fact that the people come. If I went out there and said, I'm taking 1% of your revenues, will anybody show up?
Can I just say, if the option tax passes, we'd already be getting 1% of their
It's already
sales.
beginning, and you don't want to double.
So just throwing that out there.
What I'm recommending here is saying, wait a minute, I'd rather. Joe said something like go up to $35 for the permit. I heard in,
It's only 10 right now, so I would.
no, yeah, I mean,
30,
it's a
35.
major.
10 does seem very generous.
I heard Ann say that she spends $50 to go to Ballot. I'm just going, why the heck are we back charging $50? We've got to stop being free haven.
Yeah, food trucks, we charge $10.
$10 for a spot?
And I think we've proven the case to anyone who might want to do it next year, right? So
Absolutely.
we can probably.
So,
Yeah. Like
So-
they know they're gonna make money. So
I'm looking to negotiate. I let the folks who do the numbers negotiate what that is. But I'd like to see, you're not going to talk about it if you don't put anything there. And I know we've been making some vendor stuff, even at $10, probably going into the general
miscellaneous revenue.
miscellaneous revenue. But,
Yeah, it should be here, that's what it should
but
be.
let's want to put $1,000 just as a placeholder, and let's see after this year what, and you can
Right.
work. That was the only one.
I think $1,000 is cheap myself.
And I didn't realize we charged so little for a vendor space.
It's a one time, so I've had people come in and we give a $10 food truck permit, that's good for the year.
What?
Oh, yeah.
For 1 year.
From-
It's a.
Right.
Just put it on the sales program.
We not have 100.
I go further into the
Well,
policing.
Well, listen, just for general information. A certain individual I know very well goes to Clifton Park in Saratoga and they pay anywhere from $50 to $75 a table fee
Sure,
per day, per day,
Per day?
per day.
no question. But
Okay?
so I'm gonna move off permits and licensing unless you have something. I'm gonna move us down to fees, charges, government. It all stayed zero, so don't see anything there. Town clerk fees, it looks like,
Record.
nothing there. Stop me if I go too fast. Propose, transfer station revenue. Looks like we went down because we're getting recycling income and user fees, right?
Correct. So the user fees compared with our actuals from previous years, we seem to be on target with that 86, the proposed 86,000, though it makes me nervous.
Yeah.
And recycling income is pretty much petered out to nothing. 5,000 I feel is generous, but I don't want to shoot myself in the foot here.
Don't want to spend a lot of time on this one because it's an agenda item for discussion of transfer station and other towns.
Mhm.
So we're talking about it again, but right now I'm going, yeah, okay.
Sam, did you have a thought?
Just the one thing I've always wondered about recycling income. Obviously, there's no market for plastics anymore, so that's gone. If we organized our metals, would there be any opportunity for?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I left the transfer station in the parking lot.
Yeah.
If we were to separate the ferrous from non-ferrous metals, it would greatly increase what we get for that. And there are parts in the refrigerators and ACs as well that
Right.
they're very expensive pieces that if they're separated out is worth a ton of money. So there's a lot of opportunity to transfer.
This is true. But it does take a lot of time to do that, so that's tying up employees' time. So somebody's gotta really do the figures and see if it's worth it.
Yeah. I mean, if it's
You got number one steel, you got
it's worth it to
heavy
earth
stuff.
it's worth it to earth waste metal to do it. And I can't imagine that. Are we paying our employees so much more than they're paying their employees?
And they're right down the road, so it's.
Okay.
But it sounds like we're working on the right stuff when I see transfer station is a to-do item. Next one here, the cemetery revenue, and that's another, we were talking earlier, Rich, about how we are, been a long time since there's been an increase in,
Yeah.
there's,
We need to look
those
at it.
two have an opportunity for revenue
I do
generation.
have a lot of information filed
in the
already
coming
on
year.
that. Just a couple more things to come in.
And so maybe in another year, I don't think we could, by the time we implement anything, it would be a year up, but there's where the opportunity is for some revenue. Animal control looks like it stayed there. Air park.
Yes, so I actually brought that down from 1,000, but the flyers will give us 1,000. So I should move
That could be
back up.
that should be 1,000 because the flyers give us 1,000.
Yeah.
And if we get lucky, I think we rented it.
Once.
We did rent it once this year. Maybe we'll get more. Police revenue. I'm on 01028-02. The ticket and parking fines.
Yeah, so I started tinkering with this, and then I asked the chief, hey, does this sound right? And he's like, no.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah. So this one here, but he was thinking 31 sounded. It's a little bit more than last year, but it's 3,000 more than I thought it was going to be.
We get 3,000 more, and every 1,000 counts as we're putting.
And same with the SRO. Now this is not just our school resource officer, but it's also special services that the police do. So if they do wide loads, or if they spend time over at the racetrack, like Devil's Bowl.
Very detailed.
So, yeah, it goes in there. And he was thinking 100 would be good in that space.
Why were the actuals so high in 23?
It's hit or miss on how much. Well, 23, we did a road project.
Okay.
Where we had a guy out basically 40 hours a week doing the road signs.
$1 million.
That, we brought a lot of money. That's
What do you mean doing road signs?
contracted with a company out of Maine or wherever they came, and they replaced all the signs on Route 4.
Oh, okay, all right. I
I
wasn't sure.
called me, I had a guy available. And he said,
Oh, and he just patrolled,
No,
making
just-
sure.
Out there with the lights on,
Lights on.
nature, yeah.
We build on it,
You should
$75 an
revisit
hour.
Benson.
The
I
county,
feel like the sheriffs sometimes will do that. There'll be a sheriff sitting
We would, yeah,
on the work site.
I want that job.
So that line item went from 31, and then the one underneath it went to 100.
Yes. Yeah.
And out of that 21, I forgot top, we have about 14, 15,000 right now. We're inching our way towards, so that's good. I don't see anything else. Is there anything else anyone want to talk about in revenue?
the can, and we don't have a dog in.
That's zeroed out.
Yeah, that's, what was the Benson contract? Why is it? What was?
We had a contract,
And we don't do that no more?
they've actually reached out, to talk to me about it. There's potential to do that.
But what would that, what do you, off the top of your head, do you have an idea of what?
To get $5,000 now between January and 1.
There, and reach out with that as well.
So that's a possibility coming up.
I can have it
Have it
if I want, I can start tomorrow.
started right.
But do you have, I'm sure you have the manpower to do it.
15 turned into 20.
All 3 hours a week.
I say start that tomorrow.
It's,
Well,
you want to understand why we're not doing it? Oh,
No.
okay, go ahead.
while we're on that topic, the animal control officer who currently is an unfilled position for Fairhaven, is that correct? But that officer would report directly to you, is that correct?
It used to be charged from everybody before, right? And then because we started utilizing our crime system better, what happened is we had a animal control officer that presented a dangerous dog hearing to the board. I didn't know anything about it. He didn't have any paperwork at the time.
Mm.
So after that, I started hiring them and working here because we train them, they have access to the crime system. If they come deal with you, there's a dog report that says Stan Lucci was the person who was complaining, and it was just a better way to track. So that person has kind of migrated to fall under the police department only because they have access to our system. And it does allow a little extra supervision on that person.
The only reason I bring it up is I became aware yesterday that Benson does not currently have an animal control officer either. And I didn't know if there was an opportunity for consolidation of
So
that.
when I recently talked to Benson, they were asking to do some backward. So we started working up there, we would try to handle some of those calls.
Okay.
And a lot of it is just following up on dog work. So that would fall under that.
And just a little history, because we've done some of that. I think we've done Devil's Bowl. We had for a while, when the board changes over, some board members that didn't want police leaving town.
Yeah.
And,
So when we did Benson in the past, it would be, what they liked was if we went up and did 9 o'clock in the morning for an hour, and maybe doubled that and came back that night. Sheriffs had it before, they do 3 hours, and they didn't come back again until next week, so you weren't really. And when we did it before, it was kind of just, if we couldn't be there, this was primary. We couldn't be there, we'd do the hours next week, as long as it was an average. Or if somebody had a call, we would take the call, that was the bill. Or if we had traffic court, we'd bill them for the traffic. It is a revenue stream.
I think we should jump on it if chief is okay with it. That's income.
our police commissioner, what are your thoughts or feelings?
I love it. I'm hesitant to put a dollar figure on it, like the chief said. If we don't have an officer, or there's, Lord knows something happens and we can't get out there, now I budgeted $5,000 that I don't get.
But I think you could easily budget a couple thousand.
So
I think it's safe to budget 5,000 for the next year.
I understand. So this is revenues. I have strong opinions about these. But the board does, bear with me. We have a budget and it's this much money. And then next year we'll say, this is the budget. And then they say, we have a $10,000 tree we need to cut down. So then now I'm over budget. Now, these are my revenues. They should equal. Now my budget's up here, but I put a whole bunch of money in the revenues that I can't collect. So now my revenues are down here. Now I have this huge gap to somehow fill. If you fool with the revenues too much, you're really gonna cause the town a huge problem with their finances. I mean, something that's it wouldn't be, let's find the money, it'd be like, let's take out a loan to cover our debt.
I think that happened one time at the transfer stations. We overestimated prior town managers, we overestimated. And then we didn't come close, so we overestimated 50,000 of that. We didn't come close to revenue, so that really hampered. So you're better off to be conservative than.
And if you I just want to follow up on that.
So,
If you make more revenue than you planned
I
and you
totally-
don't have the 10,000, does that mean you have surplus come June?
Yes, so come June, the auditor will come and say, oh, you have a surplus of money, and then that comes, if you do have a surplus, you can say, can we move this to the surplus funds into a project maybe you want to spend that money on? Or move it into reserve funds like we've done in the past, like we came into $50,000 extra in revenue, can we move that to police cars?
And I understand all of that. My only concern is I don't want us to get in trouble with revenues, but I've also found my experience says if you measure it, you're gonna work and you're gonna meet and you're gonna exceed. If you're not really measuring and changing the bar, that you're missing the
so,
boat on some revenue. That's all I'm concerned.
so, Joe, in your opinion, what would you put in there for a figure
Right.
conservatively?
I know the chief said 5, maybe 2.
That's kind of what I said.
I'm just, the revenue piece is very scary for me because we come way under and then we way overspend. You're really looking at
We're better off to set these bars low.
And then let's see what
in a
experience,
conservative way, yeah.
and then see what experience, because you do a nice job of getting the median and looking back at it. I'm okay with, let's start and when we're not short, let's be very conservative. And then
You're gonna add 2,000?
2,000 sounds good. Should be 17,000. We won back. So
Good.
we're getting there.
We've got a lot of companies on the website. The only problem with those they are dependent. Right now, I have a very active crew, even in my part-time, that are interested in doing that type of work. But that's my only caution, that, you lose somebody, people retire, don't have the people doing that, and we're not able to meet that. But I will tell you, the wide loads don't impact our shifts, and we're billing $75 an hour. I'm just paying out 25 or 30, 45 right back to the company.
Mhm.
And they come on. So
Good.
they've been, I think, beneficial. Not for a hired partner. They'll try to be for a hired partner, but if you can provide that extra service, and my mentality has always been if it costs $200,000 to run your department, you bring in 100, you're only paying 100,000 on the other side.
Exactly. That's the way I look at it. Good. Anything else on revenues before I move us on? So you're gonna put all that stuff together?
Yes.
2 minutes for public comment.
Wait. So now your budget's now mostly set with your revenue, with your expenses and your revenues. I'm gonna bring the board options. I would bring that down about 4.5%, between 4 and 4.5%. We're gonna figure out what the taxes look like. And that top line there that we talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, we're gonna fill in that gap for the next meeting, and I'll bring a draft warrant, the draft warning at the next meeting. But the decisions have to be made because we're all on a state timeline, right? It's not Joe's timeline, it's the state's timeline.
We don't leave without a decision.
Yeah, so that's what it is. So next week we'll bring your finalized budget with a few options for the board to handle or to decide on. Revenues will look good. Warning will be drafted.
Okay. Good. No 2 minutes for public comment. Nobody comment. Parking lot. Anything you want to talk before I move on over the parking lot? I'd like to move right by it. Board roundtable. Sam.
Plowing's been good on my block, so thanks for that to all the folks involved. And I did see it was the stuff at truck that you mentioned earlier, Chief. I noticed that going on when I was at the grocery store last, and I just wanted to say thanks for doing that, to your department for doing that.
Other town office stuff out of box.
Yeah.
Versus other agencies, so we spent the one day out there. I think we did okay, but the limited time we had.
That's all I got.
Pete?
I just want to say that I read in the Rutland Herald that Gary got the wastewater treatment person of the year, I think. I read that in the Rutland Herald. That was phenomenal. I can't thank you enough, Chief, for everything you guys do for our town. I've seen a big difference just being on the board. I thank you guys very much for what you do.
Good. Rich?
Well, again, I'll add to that. I definitely appreciate what you do, people. Everything is pretty smoothly operated here in Fairhaven. Thanks to DPW for their hard work plowing. It looks like they're trying to keep the vehicles pretty clean. I see them on the road, the vehicles quite a lot. They look a lot cleaner than they used to look. So I appreciate that. And I've had some good reports on the salt barn up there. I guess they got all kinds of room for salt. So they're liking that. Everything seems to be pretty good.
Good. I'm good. Let's move on to reviewing the financials and can't you computer response there?
Make a motion to pay the payroll account $40,562.58.
I will second that.
Seconded by Sam. All those in favor?
I can make a motion to pay the general warrant of $812,506.35.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Keith. Were there, there were some big items in there.
Yeah, the school payment.
School payment was the biggie.
Yeah, a little over 500.
Yeah. And
Appropriations.
appropriations 89. Beamers is 18. Ferguson 16 and Casella is 140.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye. Checkbook status looks like a minus $845,071.65.
Yeah, so yeah, even that number makes me nervous. Like normally I don't get nervous with these, but I have been pounding away on the contractors in the state. They still owe us 1.34 million. Yeah,
Is there a reason why? I mean,
they're having trouble with the new federal regulations, the BABA, Buy America, let's Build America, Buy America. They're having trouble getting their paperwork for that, which is not our problem.
no, it's not.
Right,
It's hurting us.
Right, exactly. So.
Yeah, it's hurting us.
Yeah. So I sent a pretty vicious message, in fact, just today about it. So
How much do they still owe you?
1.34 million. Yeah, it's a lot of money to float, and most towns that they got to borrow money at 5%. So we're lucky we could do that, but at the same time, these people need to be more respectful and act more urgently in this kind of stuff.
I will entertain a motion to go into executive session.
I will make a motion to go into executive session to discuss contracts 1 ESA 313A1.
Second that.
Favor?
Aye.